Welcome to the Same Day Podcast, where we discuss driving incremental business growth and other topics related to real estate, property management, and entrepreneurship. Now to the show at hand.
Matt Zalk here. I'm the host of the Same Day Podcast, where I connect with top business experts and real estate leaders. Past guests include Will Carstetter, who actually used to work with Skyler, our guest today. Go back and check out that show for an interesting perspective on acquisitions, flipping, and the property management world. Today's episode is brought to you by Chris Lau State Farm. Chris Lau State Farm helps you protect your most precious assets and investments, whether it's your home and auto investment, rental properties, or other valuables. Call Chris Lau State Farm for a quick and painless phone call to potentially save you double digits on all your insurance needs. That's diallyle.com, diallile.com. Call his office at 918-878-7771. Today's episode is also brought to you by Keyrenter Property Management. At Keyrenter Property Management, we are a full-service property management company helping our clients buy, renovate, and operate real estate assets. We help our clients build wealth while taking the headache out of property management. Go to keyrenterpmc.com or email us at info@keyrenterpmc.com. Today's guest is Skyler Walker. He's a real estate investor, small business owner, Marine reservist, and husband to his beautiful wife and father of 3 amazing children. When he's not serving his clients, he's training for high rocks, mountain biking, or finding a project around the house to consider finishing. Born and raised in Oklahoma and a graduate of Jinx High School, Skyler is looking to add value to his community through real estate and just being a good dude. Skyler Walker, welcome to the show.
Woo-woo. Happy to be here.
I think the first thing we should talk about is your technical issues. We've been on Zoom for a decade, bro.
Yeah, I don't usually headphone and Zoom, and I thought, you know what, Matt deserves just
Good
a
audio.
higher level of audio, and so I thought I'd plug them in, and it proved to be a feat for me.
But I don't understand. How are your residents and your owners calling you right now? Not on Zoom. You have another platform that you use so that they're not blowing up your personal cell at all hours of the night and day.
Yeah, it does forward to my personal cell, but yeah, through a CRM, we use Twilio, which is behind basically the VoIP behind our CRM, which is Aptly. And
but if somebody forwards their call,
when it comes,
if the call forwards to you, and then you hit that, you're in the middle of a meeting with somebody, you press that off button, it says you've reached the voicemail. No, it just says please leave a message for 918-XXXXXXX. Then they've got your personal cell phone number, which is not ideal, right?
no, so I actually have a Google Voice number that it's tied to.
Got it.
Which is set up on my phone. So I've got got a few phases of
Gotta get through
layers.
a couple of layers. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is going on in the property management world? I mean, let's just for context, Skyler and I have traveled to industry conferences together, have sat down for many a coffee and hung out, and we always talk shop, talk property management business, talk investing, real estate. What are you seeing in the property management world? Is it hard out there for a property manager?
I would say yes and no. It's a tough, it can be a very tough industry if you truly want to do a good job. I think property management in general it's a lot.
It's a grind, dude, isn't it? It's a grind.
It really is, and it's so broad in general, right? And then if you try to define what services do and don't cover, then some people like that or don't like that, or they've already been used and abused, so they're like, yeah, I just didn't really expect much from you. And they're like, oh, you do a really great job, right?
That's actually great. It's a low expectation bar to exceed. Okay.
Generally speaking, yeah, I find that the bar is a little low oftentimes because hopefully nobody's offended, but it's older realtors, brokers, whatever, that have said, yes, I'll manage your property. And they have 50, 100 doors, whatever, and they just are barely there.
Yeah.
And they do it for clients. And then, you finally go to somebody who actually
Yeah.
built a business, does this for a living, and they're like, oh wow, this is what property management is supposed to be. I always wonder why you guys charge a little bit more.
You're like, here we go. Let me explain. A couple of thoughts on that.
Yeah.
One, I'd prefer to call our friends more tenured, greater tenured real estate professionals. That's
Very well.
we don't want to be ageist. Number two, the challenge with in the state of the industry and also the potential opportunity for folks like us that have built specific dedicated property management companies is that the reputation is terrible. So in our system in Appfolio, for example, if I put in your banking details today and send you an ACH, it will take 7 days to get to you when I trigger that first payment. After a month of sending payments, even if it's just one payment, it'll come to you next day. When I explain that to people, they hear it, but they don't remember that this is going to happen. So I'll get a call after 4 days and be like, "Hey, where'd the money go?" And I'm like, "Is the thought that you think that I'm actually stealing that $1,100? That I lied to you about it coming?" And I think the truth is, in many corners of our industry with many operators, they're like, "Hey, Skyler, I sent that check," and the check just never got sent. Or I sent that ACH and it just never got sent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you got confirmation from our system. The moment I trigger that payment, you get a confirmation. And you remember I told you it was going to take 7 days. Maybe it takes 6, maybe it takes 5, but it's going to take a bunch of days the first time. And so that's
Yeah.
the challenge, is that when we have all these people writing checks instead of ACHing directly into your account, and the U.S. Postal Service has developed a reputation. I won't comment on it, but it has developed a reputation for being not the most efficient or accurate delivery service. It may never show up. And so, yeah, it's kind of funny to say like there's a low threshold, and it's easy to exceed that, but it's also like it damages the reputation, which is why I think my approach, and we've had Tracy Strike on the podcast. We've had other property managers. We're happy to have Coyote PM on. Like we're allies in this thing. The more people that have their properties professionally managed, the fewer residents you and I are going to have to recoach and explain why a late fee is a late fee. And like we can't differentiate because somebody is one color or one disability or one this or one, like we have to apply rules evenly across the board. So welcome.
Yeah.
You're doing God's work.
Thank you.
What
It feels like it.
it's a grind. I mean, I think most people don't recognize. They kind of say, "What are you charging a fee for?" It's like, well, man, there are a lot of moving parts to property management, to keeping a tenant happy.
Yeah. Yeah, big time.
What are you
I
seeing?
actually get the transaction issue more so with vendors. They're like, "Hey, did you pay me?" I'm like, "Yeah, every week, literally every week. I pay
Every
you.
week,
It
every
takes
week.
this
But
long every week."
what's crazy is like you may pay a vendor every week for 5 years. And then one Thursday, we deploy on Thursday and they get the checks on Friday. One Thursday, this used to happen. This doesn't happen anymore because there are like multiple safeguards where people are like harassing, like, "Did you pay? Did you pay? Did you pay?" But it used to happen. And one Thursday, I'd have a meeting into a dinner and I would forget to make the payment by, I think we have to do it by 9 o'clock is the threshold, the cutoff. I've got to do it by 8:59 or else it doesn't get sent. And the number of vendors that will call and harass you for their $400, $600, $800. And I'm like, guys, we've paid you $1,000 a week for 5 years. You didn't set aside $5 per pay period so that in the event that this happened, you would be okay. I promise you the money will be there Monday. And I'm really sorry. And sometimes we have guys like run into the bank to get the money and then they reimburse us or we take it. It's like insanity. But this, I guess, is, even for well-paid vendors, I guess
Yeah.
it's really a challenge of living in the USA with inflation at insane rates lately.
Yeah. I've lost vendors over it.
Tell me about
I
that.
like, yeah, there was just a couple guys in particular where we kind of had a pretty good agreement going to where, hey, we're going to give you a good amount of work to get a fair rate. That's always the case, right? And that's
Totally.
what we get to do as property managers in order to better serve the client, right? But yeah, there was a couple issues with the vendor was like confused on whether he did or didn't bill a couple invoices, and they, and then it was like, hey, we paid all these, sent in the statement. And he was like, well, all of a sudden, after several months of using them, well, this just takes too long. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it's crazy. It's been fine for the past, 4 or 5 months, right? And he just said, well, I just, if you guys can't pay us a little quicker, like we're gonna have to work something out. I'm like,
How often do you pay?
if it's in by
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
Wednesday,
Yeah.
every week, weekly, like without fail.
Yeah.
So I think there was a little more to it than just the how long it takes, right, for the ACH to hit his account. And it seems like it almost like maybe some banks take even a little bit longer too.
Well,
But
that's true. If people complain about the deposit taking multiple days, it's their bank that's holding it. Like I know because I'm an
yeah,
owner. I'm an owner in our portfolio, and when my portfolio
right.
pays out its monthly distribution, it hits the next day, the next business day. So
Mm,
you can test it on your own bank and see if you're using Chime or WeStreet or some other kind of weird systems, or if you have your like it's going through your Cash App routing and account number, they're going to hold it for the float for sure, no doubt about it. Because
yeah,
they're paying you 1 or 2 or 3 days less interest on that money, so they're going to hold it. And if you just call them and harass them, they think it's you, and you're like, well, let me explain. I paid $190,000 worth of invoices this week, and I've had you call me. I'm pretty sure it's not me or Appfolio. So, anyways,
right.
that definitely can be a challenge. And I also find like when we get occasionally an email from the accounts receivables department of a vendor, and they'll say, well, the following checks haven't been paid. Can you give us an update? And I'm like, at Glorian, my work wife, who's been with us for 8 years, I'm like, can you please help this person understand where these checks are? And you get an email back that says so and so check or ACH paid this day, ACH paid this day, and it'll be with a bunch of other payments that they received. They're not contesting in one batch of payments. There are 5 payments, and they're not contesting 4 of the 5, but one they're contesting. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, I've got to go back and actually reconcile my books. I'm like, guys, get it together. Use the software. Use the software.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Or just update it, right? Like just get pinged, invoice still due, and it's like I paid this so long ago. Like just update it in the system, please. Because now I have to go through, a smaller shop. Like I have to go through and double check. Like, did I pay them? I don't know. I don't remember. Right. So
Is that
now
switching
I'm
cost?
burning up time in my day.
Totally. And you're like going from software to all your logins. Every one is 25
Yeah.
seconds and a bunch of switching costs. What are you seeing on rents out there? I keep reading these reports that like rents are flat down across the country. I mean, it's hard. Days on market up.
Yeah. I think we're just kind of following the sales market a little bit, you know. I always try to put my foot in my mouth there, but I've always felt like it's been inflated for a while, and
Yeah.
I've been kind of waiting for a correction, right? Money is really expensive to borrow right now. And so, if it's not moving, it ends up eventually affecting the renter. I mean, um, it's it starts to have economical impact.
Yeah.
And so therefore it's not just the price of the home. Right now you've got, well, the cost of how much can I rent it for? We've got other inflation factors and macro and microeconomic factors that are increasing the price of everything. And I think ultimately, rents are still a little bit inflated. We didn't feel it as hard here, I don't think, in
Yeah.
Oklahoma. But I've had to talk to a lot of people. Every call we get, I'm like, hey, I know the Zestimate says this, but I need you to be prepared. Here's a $200 window. Here's where we're going to start, and here's where we might end up being by the time we're done with this, right? And so
That's
that's
a
kind
good
of like step
conversation to have on
one.
the
And
front end.
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
think
because
there
it's always
was a
like, oh, I need to
period.
hit this. need to hit this amount, right? And it's like, okay, great. I don't have a crystal ball. I've got a lot of data. Here's all the data that says, yes, we can. But here's some data that says sometimes we don't.
Let me explain to the renter that you really need to make your monthly nut and see if they'll come up on rent $200 just to make
Yeah,
sure you
right.
can cover your 15-year amortization schedule. They really care. Let me
Yeah.
explain. But
Yeah. You don't just want your retirement funded. You also want cash flow now.
these are the real trials and tribulations that we deal with. They're like in 2020 and 2021, we'd say the rent's going to be 1850, 1950. And people would say, let's try 2300. And we'd go, okay. And we put it up for 2300 and we'd get 2300. It was insane. Now those same owners are like, all right, let's try, to keep pushing it. You're like, God, we're in a different environment. You cannot take the environment from 4 or 5 years ago and put it on today's renters because it's just not the same. Like the feeling that they have, they're like pulling out their hair and at this price, I'll go move in with my parents. And I think people are doing that. Like there's just
Yeah.
demand is down. Of course, it's November. So we're going to see seasonal fluctuations, but
Right.
like even this summer, it was like the number of price drops that we had to do to make it work. I mean, we might have a lease termination, somebody move out early and then have to lower the price to get it leased, which is super unfortunate. But we're seeing flat and sometimes declining rents. The good news is that generally it's not worth it for a resident to move out on a $50 increase or something. And so you can continue to push rents a little bit because moving across the street, for a 25 or $50 savings is $600. They're gonna have to hire a moving truck and disrupt their kids and change all their address. Like it's not ideal. So I think keeping residents in place, even if it's not $50, if it's $25, you'd want to keep people in place at all costs because it's a wild west out there. You don't want to be leasing the property if you can help it.
Yeah, 100%. Vacancy is brutally expensive, and that's always my guidance to owners who are like, yeah, I think we're about $150 like under rented. I'm like, well, you might be, but you're you're gonna be about 6 grand out. Like how long? What's our ROI on that? How long is it gonna take for you to recoup this money that you're gonna lose? And are we
What's
gonna get 150 if we make ready this thing and put it on the market, or
You have to
150 more?
you have to explain to them when they tell you that the Zillow rent estimate says, it's $150 more a month. Tell them the A in Zillow stands for accuracy. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
it's true. Like somebody moves out, what's the $6,000 that you're talking about? Like a make ready cost or the utilities and lost
Yeah,
rent and
exactly.
everything?
Like, so I mean, just assuming cost of vacancy, so say it's $1,500, a month. So we've got immediately, unless we can pre-lease it and there's just no cost involved. But we'll say in this scenario, you've effectively lost $1,500,
Yeah.
magical money, theoretical money that you could have had on your lease if you had extended. But we'll call it 1650 because we'll use the owner's intended number of the $150 loss. And then the rest would be, make ready costs. So we need maybe new paint, right? Maybe some flooring repairs, something like that, a little bit of drywall. And so we get it turned around. Maybe we get it leased within 30 days and we got to tenant the following month on the first. So yeah, 6 grand. So do some quick math. 6,000 divided by 150, 40 months.
Yeah. Let's keep that
40
let's
months
keep
to
that resident
recoup
in
your
place.
cost. Yeah, keep them in place. I mean, at $25 increase, you get, well, I guess you'd only do it for a year, right? So
Yeah, you do
you creep it
25
up another $300.
and then you go up another $25 and yeah, but your opportunity cost of the lost opportunity of kicking them out is not ideal.
Yeah, I mean, it's absurd. It's, I think, it's hard. It's difficult, especially if people are financially fit and they're fine with, moving forward with something like, hey, we'll take the loss, whatever. Like, if you want to do it, sure, whatever. Like you're the client, we'll knock it out for you. But especially, you know, we have a lot of clients that they'll just buy stuff and hang on to it for a while. Like they'll renovate it themselves and it's just kind of hanging out in the background. It makes me just cringe. I'm like, you know how much money you're losing? Like, just get it done. Let me
They
help
don't
you get it
care.
done. Like
Yeah.
something. Like let's
That's
get this thing
that's
on
a
the market.
that's a big pain point. People are like, can I do the renovation myself? I'm like, you can, but whatever you think you're saving, you're actually losing three times that much. You're laying flooring
Yeah.
yourself because it's free in your mind, but it's not free. It's $40 an hour or whatever your hourly rate is. So it's not free. And then it's going to take you three times as long as it would take us. And we've now lost 2 months of rent income as a result. That's wild.
Yeah. 100%.
What's the geographical spread of Coyote property management? What are you guys managing?
Seems to be getting bigger every day.
Love that footprint.
Yeah. We're signing a guy in Stillwater actually.
Good.
So I probably wouldn't have took him on, but they are brand new builds.
Great.
Um, and so
That's
they
like
really
what,
want to work with us.
60, 70 minutes from Tulsa? How far is Stillwater? It's not so far.
Yeah, maybe a little farther, closer to 90, I think.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, maybe like an hour 40.
it's further than Oklahoma City. How far is Oklahoma City? An hour and a half, no?
Almost these. Depends where you're going, but I mean like two
Yeah.
probably.
Okay.
Since what kind of driver you are, I suppose, or some of us fly.
Pedal to the metal. I mean, flying is like slower almost. It's like it depends on the headwind. You're like, this was a bad
Yeah,
idea. And then you got to land somewhere and then, Uber somewhere, take a FBO car. And all of a sudden you're like, this made no sense, but it was way more fun. Way more fun.
yeah.
That's cool. So Stillwater new builds, are they going to be, student housing or like single family for professors or just normal city folk?
No, they're a little ways out of town. 4 bedroom, 2 bath, a little bit smaller square footage. I think they're like maybe right around 2,000. Nothing too crazy.
That's not
I'd
like
say
a starter home
efficiency
though.
builds for 4 bedroom.
Yeah.
Do what?
That's not like a starter home though. That's a reasonable size home.
Yeah,
I think
yeah. I
some
don't
of
remember
our
what
most successful stuff is like,
the purchase point on them was.
yeah, I guess you check the assessor site and see. Some of our most successful rentals are like, well, if we have folks that bought them before in 2017, 18, but some of the Simmons homes, Capital homes, they're like three twos that are 1,450 square feet. Those are like, and this guy bought them. He said, when I was first out of college and I had my wife was my girlfriend or my wife was my fiance, we needed a place and we moved into a 1,400 square foot, 3 bed, 2 bath or something like that. Maybe he had a kid at the time. And he was like, these will always stay rented. It was a good move. He bought them. They've gone up 50% in value, which is just nuts. But at least for Tulsa, surrounding metro, and they've stayed
Yeah,
rented. He was absolutely right. Small three twos, good starter home for somebody, kind of making their way in the burbs. It's legit.
yeah, 100%. That's what I started with. It was 3 bedroom, 2 bath duplexes. Um,
Yeah.
they're just the perfect size, and well, like per side, and for me, it was the easiest entry point was getting a duplex. But I knew a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, or a 2 bedroom, as long as it had more than one bath, like you weren't going to have any issues.
Yeah.
Keep getting it rented.
I mean, duplexes are generally great. Keep it down over there. Sorry, that was the other side of the duplex. They're making too much noise. You gotta like I feel like duplexes are a little more like commercial management where you gotta make sure you're not putting in like a nursery next to a cannabis shop. You gotta match the
Right.
tenants at some level, right? Make sure one's not like a late night
Yeah.
party animal and the other's a cop doing the 5 a.m. shift.
Yeah. 100%. Definitely had those issues, and I actually lived next to my tenants whenever
House
I was
hacking.
buying those duplexes.
Solid house hack.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. It was really my only method in. The first home I ever bought was duplex. I became a landlord and a homeowner in the the same week.
What year was that?
2017.
Yeah, good for you. You now beautiful family, South Tulsa home. How far you've come. Have you read the book The Gap in the
Look
Gain?
how far. No,
That's a good
I'll
one.
write
Like
that down.
The Gap in the Gain. We spend as reasonably high functioning humans, we spend a lot of time like looking forward to the next peak that the next mountain that we're climbing, and we rarely step back to take a look to see how far we've come. And some of the source of our misery as humans is like we're just looking at the next peak, the next horizon, and we don't step back to be like, well, if I was here where I am now 10 years ago, I would have looked back and said that would be a great goal to be at in 10 years. But now that we're here, we're just like constantly looking ahead at the next one. So we never like appreciate where we've come from.
Yeah, it feels weird to pat yourself on the back. I mean, I think kind of like similar to the stop and smell the roses. Like it's just like hard to do. It's like, no, if I stop, then I'll stop. It's like the uh grow your company has to grow or it's gonna die, right? It's like the like the same like the human model.
Yeah.
It's like you just
Yeah.
have to ah, you know.
Yeah. I talked to Tim Jackson yesterday of Jackson Technical, and he was like, I've been in the business 25 years. I'm good. I don't do any advertising. Clients that find us from a referral, uh, or they do enough diligence that they find us and call us, and they're way better clients. We don't sell on price. We're going to provide you an awesome service. We're not the cheapest. If you want the cheapest, go somewhere else. And since he, has stopped doing marketing because his intention is not to just like grow the business at an insane pace. He is happier and finds better clients.
Mm, yeah,
Interesting
like
approach.
that.
You and I haven't been in the business 25 years, so we don't have that luxury yet.
No, my dad has pretty predominant, you know, taxi crane company here in Oklahoma, and they've been around for probably 30 years now. I mean, they've never done any of that advertising and stuff. The only thing that killed them is, well, almost did, was they weren't raising prices. They weren't paying attention to what their competitors, where they were raising prices, what fees they were charging, what minimums there were, and they were still the best and the cheapest in town. But it got to the point where it was like, how are we gonna keep these doors open? So
Yeah.
they've never done any of that stuff. They
Uh,
also don't have a ton of competition. Market's not super saturated, but it's
what's his business name?
called H&R Lifting and Bucket Service.
And so because his main client would be an industry insider, they just know, or do people find him like people have to start Googling? I mean, that's one of the challenges is that a B2B versus a B2C business. I don't know if we're B2C. I guess we're technically B2B because our clients are really business owners that own real estate. But people are finding us on Google. I mean, they're going to Google, they're doing searches, they're going to ChatGPT and understanding. So like if we're not on those services, we're kind of dead in general, right? I mean, the whole name of the game is SEO, SEM. But your dad
Yeah.
is your dad like insulated from that because it's just industry insiders that are buying his services?
Yeah, I think a little bit of that, and then probably something that that other company benefits from is word of mouth. Like, hey, they took great care of me. They'll take good care of you too. So, and then just having that long-standing presence. Hey, been in business 25 years, 30 years, or whatever. Like you can, or just a name that's simply familiar. It's like, oh yeah, I've heard that before. Like, yeah, I know
Yeah.
who they are. I've never used them, but yeah, I get it. you know.
Yeah, top of mind brand recognition. Tell us about your days operating cranes. What's your experience? What's your experience level operating heavy machinery?
Not a ton. Yeah, it was. I never dropped into the family business much. I considered it. I was just a little more like I wanted to turn the wheels of the business, not the wheel on the crane. So
Like you were going to work on the business, not in the business.
yeah, exactly. And
Does
so
what was your dad ever resentful of that, or he was just like, "You do you, son"?
I don't. Maybe he internalized it. He's pretty good. He's very patient. He's a good guy. So he did. He didn't let me know. I think he was probably a little disappointed, but my sister works for him and my sister's husband works for him as well. And so, I
Okay, so
mean,
they're keeping it in the family.
what better hands?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, I feel like if my kids snubbed uh our profession and didn't want to come into the business, I don't know how I'd feel. Like on one hand, cool, go
yeah.
chart your own path, and on the other hand, you'd be like, but it'd be so fun to work together, and that'd be disappointing.
Yeah, I don't have the same mentality, I don't think, as my dad, or at least I'm more open that it would hurt my feelings if my kids weren't interested in like working with me. Like, I hear what was it, like Jerry Jones, right?
Yeah, he brought
Talks about like his family. He
whole
talks about,
family. Yeah,
yeah, who does he want or surrounding him on his deathbed? Wants
totally.
his board and his family there, right?
Yeah,
And he wants them to be the same people. And I love that.
yeah.
But
I
anyway,
mean, so
my only experience with cranes is we used to in the crane yard they would put like a big rope and we'd swing from the crane and we would jump off of like the deck behind the cab and just rip it. It was a good time, actually.
it does great things for your dad's general liability insurance as your friends are with you,
Yeah.
like jumping in rope swings.
Good
What
time.
else is going on? How many owner conversations do you have in a week, you think, these days? Does it trend up for you in the winter, like coming into
Uh,
winter months, or trend down?
I don't think it's really slowed down much. Um, I probably have maybe like an average of one a day.
Wow, solid.
Yeah. Yeah. It's maybe a little less, maybe like point eight,
Yeah,
point seven, somewhere in there, but
that's
pretty
good.
close. I mean, honestly, we do get a lot of calls.
I feel like at some level we start to like trend up in winter months, and it's like I don't have my finger enough on the pulse, but I get the sense that it's owners that tried to lease or do their own property management over the summer and like didn't have success, and now they're bringing it to the professionals. And I'm like, man, you've really done yourself a disservice because I don't have a magic wand, a silver bullet that will get your house leased when a tenth of the people are looking for houses. Like, had you brought it to me in July, I would have
Yeah.
gotten you top rent, good people. Now it's like the dregs of society are coming around looking for a place when nobody else wants to move and everybody's getting ready
Yeah.
for Thanksgiving with the family.
Yeah. But most of our influx right now is um, people who are taking their house off the market
Yeah.
or hopefully didn't even put it on the market. And because they see what's going on and or they were on the market 30, 60, 90 days, went under contract, lost it at the end, and they're like, you know what, forget it, we're gonna rent it. They call me, they're like,
Yeah.
give me your opinion, can we make this thing cash flow? And then like that's always fun. I mean, it's kind of like a little, it's not as warm of a lead, but usually when I mention to them like, hey, do you know what a landlord policy is? Like a brick and mortar policy for insurance. So we open up a little bit of monthly for them, then they're kind of gets them rolling a little bit.
Oh, you're saying that the cost of their insurance actually reduces because it moves from a replacement cost to an actual
Yeah,
cost,
because they
actual
usually still
cash
have a
value.
homeowner's policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're paying.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on what they're paying, they save $100 or more,
Yeah.
a month, and they're like, oh, cool, that pays for you.
I got a call yesterday from a buddy who was like, "Hey, I've got, I was thinking about selling my house as we bought a new house, and now I'm thinking about renting it." I'm always like, how much equity do you have in that? It's a $3,500 house in down south, and I'm like, yeah, could it rent for $3,200 a month, $3,300 a month, maybe? And that's, $1,000 spread over your mortgage, but like, is that the best use of the capital that's locked up in the house right now? Like it ends up being the difference between buying a true rent house, which is, $150,000 house and getting 15, 16, $1,700 a month in rent, which is hard these days, no doubt about it. That's not an easy. acquisition to make. But the
Yeah.
difference between that's like, you know, a 30% return on your cash versus a house that you've owned for a bunch of years and you've got a lot of cash in it and you could sell it for a good margin. And like, I almost think that, if your return is, I love real estate and I love depreciation, but like when you factor all that stuff in, it's still not as like you have more ups, there's more variability, more volatility in the fixed asset world than there is in like, I don't know, maybe stocks over a 10-year period or maybe not on a daily basis. I don't know. How do you think about that?
Mm,
Did you tell your friend
I'd
to
say a couple
rent the
things. I
house?
mean, I yeah, yeah, I would say so. Unless it depends where they're at, right? Like if there's a substantial amount of equity and they're like, I want to invest in real estate, this is where I'm going to start. And I say, okay, well, you've got 100 grand equity. Like, have you heard of a DSCR loan? Let's go buy two or three
Yeah.
instead of doing this one, right? And let's methodically spend, you know, some of this money or whatever. Um, or, hey, this was your primary residence. You only need 2 and 5, right, to not pay taxes on it. So if you're going to go buy something else or not pay capital gains, so if you're going to go buy something else, let's just season it for a few years and see if you like this. You
Yeah.
know,
That's
let's
actually
try
a
it
good
out,
point.
and you can still offload it without getting blitzed, right? So that's usually
Can,
kind of where I start. But if they're motivated, they really want to get into real estate, like probably get rid of it, do something else, unless it's gonna rent really well, which that one sounds like maybe it's a little too high end.
yeah, I mean, I
If
feel,
you can withstand like the higher vacancy periods, like that's always a scary thing. Whenever somebody comes to me and it needs to rent for over 3 grand, really over 2,500, I'm like, I hope somebody from out of town's moving here because like it's just in my opinion, it's harder to rent them.
I actually don't know if I agree with that. Like, I feel like we have one owner who's got 8 or 9 homes. He bought executive homes in Jinx. I don't know what he was doing back in the day. I mean, they're not cheap houses. And
Yeah,
they all rent for 32 to 3,500 bucks. And I feel like we have very limited vacancy. In fact, one of them, this is the greatest story of property management. One of them has kind of a small back patio. And the resident came to us and said, my dog keeps getting insanely muddy. I need like more of a concrete pad for the back. And I said, okay, how much will it cost to do it? This was going back 5 years. She said, like, I don't know, $6,000. And I said, fantastic. You pay the $6,000 and every year on renewal, I'll give you a $500 credit. And she's been in the home like 5 years. So every year the rent goes up. She gets her credit. She's paying like she's been in a long time. So she's not like probably at market, but she's at a solid increase every year. And she has an incentive now to stay in and recoup the $6,000 that she paid for the concrete, which is fantastic. Owner's thrilled, has a investment in his house. But like I think that sometimes, so I maybe I used to have a tendency to agree with you. And now I feel like there are still a ton of people that make good money, but always if they make 300 grand, they always spend 305. And so they're kind of
that's fair.
like perpetual renters. And God bless them. I mean, so I
God
wonder,
bless them.
God bless them, like that's their prerogative. But I feel like it's almost easy. Like you get better quality tenants at $3,500 for sure than you do at 1,000.
Oh
But
yeah, they're
there's a risk
fantastic.
there's a
I
risk
just
that they're
always
going to leave.
find, yeah, I always find that they're, in smaller sample size here, but like they're always building a house or
Totally.
they're, just sold their farm or whatever, and they're just waiting. They're moving to town, or whatever. Um, and it's not inappropriately priced. It's not like, or whatever, but a lot of the nicer homes, that we manage are non-typical areas. Nobody bought 10 of them. There's no other rentals like in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
They're just kind of odd. So sometimes they just fly off the market. they might sit for 45 days. Once
Yeah.
you get it tinted in there, they're amazing. They're like pushing me information. They're like, hey, I changed the filters. I'm like, oh,
I know,
thank you.
I know, I know, I know. Like, hey, the thermostat was broken. I just went to Home Depot, bought a new thermostat and replaced it. I'm like, God,
Yeah.
you also know how to navigate ChatGPT in the most amazing way,
Yeah,
right? I mean, that's like really
incredible.
true. That's a really good point.
Yeah,
Um,
fun.
yeah, I mean, so I'm looking at this resident here. They've been in since that story I just told. They've been in since 2020, August of 2020. And we've had them at a 2% increase annually. Um, but like again, to your point on the cost of vacancy, this is an incredibly valuable lease to the owner. Takes a rent increase every
Yeah.
year. This year it was modest. This year was modest in line with the conversation that we just had, but like took good increases straight through COVID and on time payers every time. Take their $500 credit. It happens in October of every year. But I mean, that the value of a 5-year resident I mean, it's immense.
Yeah.
Tell me,
Yeah. It's incredible.
tell me, let's wrap. It's always good to chat, but let's wrap here. What are you reading? I know I gave you The Gap and the Gain. I also read, what's the last book I read? I'm reading right now again, Rocket Fuel, which is the visionary integrator follow up to Gino Wickman's book Traction. If you haven't read that EOS Traction book, it's awesome. I mean, no, it sucks. It's a textbook, but like it's a great business practice tool for the business. Um, and I read is it Bringing Down the House? No, but dang it, I just read about this guy that was like a great salesman at a wire company and became a total gambling addict, lost everything in his life, but then built his own business called Windy City Wire that he ended up selling for $600 million. So it was kind of his triumphant
Nice.
comeback, which was cool. What are you reading? What lessons are you taking away?
Um, right now I'm just reading, I kind of switched it up, from, the build myself better to, I recently read the Circle series, by Ted Decker. It's kind of like a interesting, like sort of fantasy, but based in like, I guess kind of Christian undertones.
Yeah.
So almost like a Chronicles of Narnia type. But what's cool about it is you can, as long as you read them in order from one to, there's 4 books. You can start on 2 and end on 1. You
Oh,
start on
wow.
3 and end on 2. Yeah. So I only read it the way I read it in the order that it was published. And I can't imagine reading it any other way.
Wow, that's fascinating. But that's a little bit like Star Wars-ish.
Yeah. I mean, no, so it's so this guy, he uh he lives here in this world and there's something pretty big going on and then he goes to sleep and he kind of wakes up in this other world and it's foreshadowing, it's foretelling. um it's pretty interesting. I really enjoyed it. Right now I'm reading, it's called Staying with My Boys.
Uh-huh.
It is it's a biography, but it's written as an autobiography even though he passed away, of John Basilone from World War II.
Wow.
Famous machine gunner. So
Dude, I've also been listening to this crazy podcast that is 4 hours long and it's first thing and it's about World War One, like 1914 to 1917, and just trench warfare and like crazy stuff that they dealt with as soldiers back then. They're in
yeah,
trenches, bailing out water, getting trench foot, fleas, lice, rats everywhere. As soon as they poke their head above the trench line, they just get machine gunned down. I mean, it's just no food. I mean, absolutely insane.
yeah, it's horrific environment. World War II was a lot of malaria and just like even if your conditions were okay, which they weren't, you were getting destroyed from the inside. So
Oh,
like it's just, yeah, pretty.
March for 3 days on no food, carrying like you're 115 pounds because that's what people were back then in the German army and British army, and uh carry like 80 pounds and you're soaking wet It just, I mean, what a wonderful era we live in. Holy moly.
Right.
Good God. Skyler Walker, good to see you. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you for having.
How do people
hosting
reach
me.
out real quick before we sign you off?
Yeah, coyotepmc.com. So really there, or reach us at 918-880-3007. But we're on Facebook, Instagram, all the places really. So, but best way is just through our website if anyone wants to talk to us or just chat us up. We're always open to just say, hey, give me some information. Somebody called me from California the other day, like, oh, I don't actually have property in Oklahoma, but do you want to chit chat for a little bit? And we're all like, yeah, sure, man. Like, let's help you out. Maybe we'll bring your money over here into Oklahoma.
Hold on, let me connect you to my chat bot for a second.
Yeah.
Cool. Skyler Walker, besides doing God's work, as you heard about on this podcast, is a real estate investor, small business owner, marine reservist, which we didn't talk about at all. On the next version of Skyler and Matt Chit Chat, we're gonna jump into that. He's also a husband to his beautiful wife and father to 3 amazing kids. When he's not serving his clients, he's training for high rocks, mountain biking, or finding a project around the house to consider finishing. God, do I know how that works. Born and raised in Oklahoma and a graduate of Jenks High School, Skyler's looking to add value to his community through real estate and just being a cool, good dude. Skyler, we appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Same Day Podcast. Tune in to a new show each week and be sure to subscribe to get future episodes.